There is a treasure hidden beyond pleasure. To escape from escapism is arriving at a real rhythm that creates awareness, letting you see what really is. This point needs no joint. It contains the basics for deconstructing the matrix.
En général, j'essaie de distinguer entre le futur et l'avenir. Le futur, c'est ce qui, demain, tout à l'heure, le siècle prochain, deviendra, ce qui est deviendra. Donc, il y a le futur des programmes, le futur prévisible, predictable, programs, prescriptions, tout ce qui, en quelque sorte, peut être scheduled, donc prévu. Et l'avenir, je préfère le mot avenir, to come, parce que ça se réfère à quelqu'un qui vient, à ce qui vient, et qui, venant, arrivant, n'est pas prévisible. Et pour moi, c'est ça, le vrai futur, qui est unpredictable. L'autre qui vient sans que je puisse même l'attendre d'une certaine manière, sans que je puisse m'y attendre. Donc s'il y a du vrai futur au-delà du futur, c'est l'avenir en tant qu'il est la venue de l'autre là où je ne veux pas le prévoir.
Thanks for having me here in your garden house. You don't give any satsangs anymore here?
Only individually. If you want to call it a satsang, then well, okay, but you can also, it's a talk or a conversation.
And people come over here with questions, or how does that work?
Yeah, when someone is coming here for a talk, for a session, or then you can say, well, then there are some questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the most heard question through the years that people ask you?
In general, so in the satsang itself, I do in the end of the street. It's a church building, a small church building with so the people who come there, they want to see who they are.
They want to see who they are.
Yeah, who they are in reality, who they are, what they are, or what reality is. That's my way of talking. So the response of people is because of that, I think.
And can that be seen, what I really am?
Yeah, can be recognized. That's the greatness of it is that it is completely objectless. So that's also the hard aspect of it, the difficulty for people who are completely accustomed to seeing objects.
So it cannot be found in the world.
In the world?
What I am, can it be found in the world, or
no? Because
the world exists of objects and.
Well, they are part of it, but you have to see who you are because of that. That what you can call awareness or knowing itself, knowing or seeing. You can have every word for it, but in that seeing there's nothing to see. So you can call it is seeing that there is nothing to see, or no thing to see. So if you realize that there is no thing to see, you can say, well, that's easy, so let's skip it. Or you can say, what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of no thing, nothing? What is that? Emptiness.
It seems meaningless.
Yes,
without meaning.
For the normal affairs, it's completely meaningless.
Yeah.
But in the seeing of seeing itself, there's a turn around.
A shift.
A kind of shift, yeah. And because of that, you can see that the objects are not separate from the subjects, from that which looks. Before you cannot see that. There are, in the case you asked me about the questions, many questions are, I've heard that there's a unity, so I have to be one with that stove.
Yeah.
I say, no, you are not one with that stove from that point of view. Of course not. You're completely separate or completely different from that stove. Of course. But from seeing itself, you can see that the stove is nothing else than being seen. In that being seen, it's not separate, it's not distinguishable from seeing. Then you see the meaning of not two. From non-dual, that's not two. That means the one that sees is not a one. It's not somebody, not somebody who sees. It's just seeing. And
the seeing of a stove.
For instance, the stove, for instance, you, for instance, everything, for instance, with eye closed, I have a remembrance. It's also seeing. That's objects may be seen then, but is within seeing itself. If that is skipped, if that is neglected because of the meaninglessness for the world, then you are always trying to find that, what I call at the tail end. The tail end, the tail.
Yeah.
The head and the tail.
Yeah.
If you have the head and the tail, I say, well, you have to start at the head. If you start at the tail, you are endlessly talking, you are endlessly thinking, you are endlessly searching. There's no end. on that. But if you start at the head, that's completely different. Because there is nothing yet at the head. Things arise just now. They begin just to rise now. That's the beginning. So you think you have a whole past.
Yeah.
In a way that is true, but in truth there is no reality in that. And the seeing brings it that you can see that the reality is out of that. Even if they come up again and again in dreams or in memories, you can of course you can remember things. It's not broken or broken down, but it's in the seeing. It's a complete one, because the what I call the light of the seeing is recognized in the objects as well. In a way, you can say, for instance, the stove, which is metal, you can say, well, there is in the seeing there is it has got light from it, and because of that, there is no division yet.
Yeah.
That it has not begun yet. That's very strange for explaining it, because people are used to experience it as well. That it remains an object.
Yeah.
Fine.
So without seer, no stove?
Well, that's always a question between people who say the one side and who say the other side, and I think that is not the heart of the matter. Because I think in both cases the people are right. You can say that is not to be known. I have an example often, already for years I use an example for that. If here comes a very huge planet in this room, we don't know it yet, but for instance, in 35 years, they discover this. That in all our houses there has already been a planet from a complete different matter, complete different substance.
Yeah.
So in 35 years, we acknowledge it. We say, well, it was all the time this planet. Does that mean that in the sitting here, makes that any difference if that is the case? We do not see it.
No.
But that does not tell us that there is no such thing.
Yeah.
It's like talking about death. People have all opinions about it. But in the not knowing of it, all these people can be right.
Yeah.
It's like that. So seeing the stove, if I do not look, is there a stove or not?
Yeah.
It's a way of talking. It's not important for being with the stove if I be with him and please give some warmth.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's highly philosophical to say yes or no. Like my thing is, for instance, I hear often people talk about free will or not.
Yeah.
That's for me the same.
Yeah.
I do not say yes, I do not say no, because of the same reason. You can argument for the one side, and you can have arguments for the other side.
Some teachers tell me it's both.
And it is?
It's both. It's paradoxical.
It's
both. You have free will and you don't.
Yes.
And I think, well, okay, now my mind cannot grasp one of the two.
Yeah.
Is that a problem that you, first of all, when you get in touch with the subject, you try to understand it? You want to grasp some truths from the Advaita corner. No free will.
Well, sometimes it is useful to do that. I have, because I'm so has a tendency, just a tendency, is not anything more than a tendency to explore all the traditions. Because I find many pearls in it. So because of that, you come in contact with many details, beautiful details, but also very high argumental details, which I do not consider important for the reality seeing, for what is real. So I make jumps into many details, and then also I go back.
Yeah. So what is important to see reality?
What the importance of it is?
No, what is important to see reality? What is the first step? What?
Oh, you mean what is the first step? It's always to get an eye for what is seen. There's no other way.
A glimpse or a taste or
A taste. I think more than a taste. That's necessary. A taste is not enough. That might be some, some deliberation, people who are intellectually inclined, they might be say yes to some things and neglect it afterwards. So I think there's more necessary, more than a glimpse. It has to be really seen. Otherwise, you talk from books or from others.
Yeah.
You do not talk from within.
Yeah.
Not from what you really see, what you really recognize.
And how do I know for sure that I have seen reality?
The moment that you see it,
Yeah.
you are without doubt.
Okay. And
that's the thing. If there is doubt, you have to go to the doubt. Until the doubts are completely silent. Before that time, you have to go through the whole thing. You have to see. If there's doubt, you have to see what that is.
Yeah.
What is the doubt?
And some people come here with their doubts. They
Yeah.
come and let's, for example, say I'm in doubt that I still think that I am the body. And sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do. So there's no clarity about that.
No.
Because if this
That's very usual. What you describe is very usual.
Yeah. Because if this body is healthy and fit and has enough sleep and has enough food, then it's easy for me to say I'm not the body.
Indeed.
But when it starts complaining, gives pain in my knee, headache, hunger,
then
I think, I think I am the body.
Indeed. Yeah.
So what's the right way to approach that?
Well, to take care for your body. That's number one. Not to neglect it. Not to make something of it, well, it doesn't exist, so just neglect it. No, take care of it. Because it is it's a vessel. It's you need it for being able to live. Because you have to take care for it.
Yeah.
But the identification with it, you have to see right in the middle of the problem, when the problems arise, exactly what you say. At that moment you have to see again. Yesterday it was all right, and now you are in trouble. So you have to see right now what is the thing which is seeing, which is experiencing, in fact.
Okay.
Who is that? Who or what is experiencing?
The Dutch teacher Alexander Smit once said in one of his talks that to see that you are very tired doesn't take any effort.
Yeah.
So is that
This
what you're talking
like
about?
that, yeah.
You, to see that you are, that what sees that it is hungry doesn't have hunger.
Yeah, that's it.
So there is, that what I am doesn't experience pain, hunger.
No.
It's just observing it or.
Yeah,
watch-
but the way you you
Yeah.
make the gesture,
Yeah, that says.
that is not the case.
No, there's no.
There is no such light going on.
No.
No. That's a mistake.
How does it work then?
Yeah.
How does it work then? What
It works from seeing itself. The seeing itself, that's why that is so important. Why awareness is so important. And why it is so important that the seeing or awareness is empty. So because of that, it makes it possible that things arise, and in that arising, you are not immediately taken away. That arising is still one with seeing itself. And in that, you have to, when the problems arise, you have to eventually or possibly you have to check again. If you are in doubt at that moment, you have to check immediately, so that not the story is continuing.
Yeah.
So at the start, that's what I call the head of the sequence, eh? The head in place of the tail.
Yeah.
At the start, you have to recognize. That's why that is so important, eh? The recognizing of your nature,
Yeah.
of awareness.
And is that something that I can practice?
Yes, I think so.
So it requires being alert, being not
I
distracted.
doubt if that's a question of alertness. Alertness is a kind of being in a watchtower. Eh?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a watchtower
No.
affair, no. It's just getting a feel of it in the practicing of being accustomed, being familiarized with seeing itself. Because that is so unknown. In the talking with the people, I see that that's the unknown thing. People are really, really familiar with objects.
Yeah.
Subtle objects, eh? Subtle, very subtle.
Like feelings,
Yeah, feelings,
thoughts.
subtle emotions, some meditation style, some bliss. People are accustomed to that, but it's still in the object sphere. The seeing itself, the awareness itself,
Mm-hmm.
it's stirless. It's without any motion. It's without any object aspect. There's no aspect of object in it. Not any. So that is without.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it, and in my opinion, that makes it so, what's the word? That's the gift of that objects can arise. If it would be an object itself, like the Christian God, he's an object himself or herself,
Mm-hmm.
and he sits in the way of dealing with reality.
Yeah.
So that's why you cannot see reality, because there is something in the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's nothing in the way, you get more and more. You become to be at ease with your nature, and your nature is already seeing. Eh? It's not something that has to become seeing. It is already seeing, but it is because of all the attraction of and the fascination for the objects. Everything is so attractive, or repulsive. It's the same, the one side or the other.
So could you say we are addicted to objects? It's a big addiction.
Absolutely. That's the main addiction, and objects and concepts. That combination. The objects themselves is the familiar form of a concept. The concept is what makes it a prison.
A prison.
Yeah, it's because of the concept making. Yeah. And there is a word in English, reification. I don't know if you recognize that word. Reification means that you make something of it. something of anything. Eh?
Yeah.
You have some talk about it, and you make something of it.
Yeah.
Not only somebody, but also something. The some things arise while there are not such some things. There's just a flow of that the objects that arise can disappear in the same nothingness out of which they arose.
Yeah.
That's a flow.
Yeah. But still, we try to capture those things.
Yes,
We-
we try to capture
When we're now recording this also, when I see a nice flower in your garden, I have to say to myself, no, do not cut it, because I want to have it, I want to claim it.
Claiming. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even more subtle than claiming is the idea that I have already the knowledge of it. Dus the concept making is more subtle even than the
claiming.
the owning it.
Yeah.
Of trying to own it, trying to grab it, or
So even calling it a flower is already.
yeah, the calling is not the point, but there is some I call it often a glue. There is you can feel in yourself there is a glue or some paste between you and your objects because of some fascination, fixation, fascination. That's mostly the prison maker.
And isn't it so that all those objects are screaming for my attention?
No, objects don't do anything.
No? Also not animals or human beings or.
No. Well, you can say human beings do something in trying to to sell you something. Then you can say, well, in that case, but you recognize that soon enough.
Yeah.
So that you cannot point to that as being the responsible, being responsible for your being attached to something. That's always you.
It's always me attaching myself to some object or.
Absolutely.
Giving it.
Absolutely. It's your own fascination.
Yeah.
There's not somebody else who's doing that. That's why it's so important to practice it, because before you practice it, you can have that opinion already, but in a moment you are fixated by something in which the freedom is not anymore the case, and it's just some opinion.
It's not about detaching from those things who try to get my attention, or who get my attention. Beautiful women, nice food.
No, that's the tail.
The tail.
The tail end.
You have to start first.
You have to start at the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is seeing? Who is seeing the girls? Who is seeing? Who is seeing? Not the girls. Who? Mm-hmm. That's the main thing. Who is looking? Who is fascinated?
Is it even useful to ask yourself the question, how is it even possible that I'm seeing girls right now?
You mean right now, while there's no girl in the room? That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
A dirty mind, a joy forever.
No, it's not a dirty mind.
No.
No, not in my opinion.
No, but my example is that
it's the beauty of life. So the beauty of life, you have not to leave the beauty of life, but you have to see who is seeing it, so that there becomes freedom in that relationship, becomes freedom in that within that fascination. You have to let seeing itself or awareness or the cognizant quality. You have to let that be the main part.
Okay.
So that may take you away. That you will be part of awareness.
So how those Zen monks go about and don't look at a woman, don't look at a woman, don't look at a woman. That's the wrong way.
I don't think that's a good way. No.
Some people go into a solitary. They go sit on a mountain, sit in a cave for 10 years. No distraction from the world. Not even a TV, telephones. with
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
They're trying to reach the same thing, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't condemn it or so, but I don't think that's the way for here. The way of living here, we want to live here.
Yeah, of course.
We have to take the nucleus or the heart of the matter. We have to take that from the Eastern traditions.
Yeah.
And to bring it here and to translate it in a complete way. Huh? In my opinion, the completeness is not yet done. So what I consider as necessary is that there is a kind of total translation of the Eastern traditions,
Yeah.
with full respect for the traditions.
Not saying we're trying to do it better, or we're going to do it better.
Well, we turn out to not leave this situation. That's why I'm talking in this way. There are so many people who are doing as if this environment is not important. I think this environment is very important. There's this Western civilized with all this possibilities.
Yeah.
It's very important. So we have to translate it into that, so that it becomes a useful thing to, for instance, in politics. I think the non-dual teachings can bring a real turnaround within politics also. But that's a long-term affair. So you have to start at the head, so that it will become clear that peace is already to be seen as being your own nature. So that the working on the dialogues that's happening all over the place, that they are from the tail end.
Yeah. Starting at the wrong point.
Yeah, starting at the wrong point.
Yeah.